Hey everyone, it's Road to Retire, the channel where I try to retire early with the help of side hustles, and I talk about that, personal finance, investing, and my personal lifestyle choices. If you're into that, subscribe and follow the journey. Today we're talking about a topic that's a little bit more interesting to me personally, and are side hustles short-sighted? So what do I mean by this? Meaning, a lot of people nowadays, they feel the constrictions of inflation on them. They feel like they don't have enough money to achieve the things that they want to achieve. So they ultimately turn to a side hustle. And obviously, I'm a person who dramatically uses side hustles to try and achieve my own goal of retiring early. But I think a lot of people get caught in the trap of actually needing side hustles to supplement their lifestyle. And I'm not talking about a lavish lifestyle. I'm talking about just day to day and feeding their children or whatever the case may be, pay the rent. They actually need the side hustle. So are side hustles short-sighted? And the terminology I want to say is that if you're using supplemental side hustle income, are you essentially shortchanging yourself in your career? So a lot of people who turn to side hustles, who actually need it to live, don't actually have careers, I would say. They're more of jobs, hold them over, use it to pay the rent, but they don't really have enough to get to their life goals and dreams. So they turn to side hustles to try and mend that bridge that gap, get that income, just need it. But are you stunting your own growth? There's a lot of give and take here. You can make the argument that if you are in a career, like let's say, let's pull one out of rent, like if you're a programmer, let's say you're a video game programmer, right? Are you fully utilizing your career by doing side hustles on the side instead of getting more advanced knowledge or maybe staying late at your job and earning those brownie points to try and work your way up the corporate ladder? There's a lot of give and take here. I have the kind of mindset that if you are going down the rabbit hole of like seriously investing a lot of your hard-earned time on side hustles. Like let's say data annotation out tech on the online side hustle side is really good for you. You could theoretically have a project pay $25 an hour, and you are committing, even with your 9-to-5 job or career, you are committing like 4 hours and making $100, before taxes a day, and you are committing yourself to that. My question to you is, what is the opportunity cost there? Do you consider that $100 a day from DAT worth it? Those 1099 jobs could disappear at any point. That's just point number one. But point number two, could you use those 4 additional hours a day that you're putting into that to kind of jumpstart your career in a more positive direction, or have more long-term benefits to maybe educating yourself further? There's a lot of give and take here. So you have to drill down and do an opportunity cost. Now, if you're someone who, let's say, you're like bagging groceries at a local grocery store in your 50s or whatever, and you don't have a degree, and like this is kind of your life, and you need side hustles to kind of bridge that gap, then you kind of know that like you are probably in a more disadvantaged position where you really don't have the option to like have a full-blown career. Like even if you start something that is a career line like finance or programming, like I mentioned earlier, if you're someone down that line, well then you can only get like a decade or so unless you plan on working into your 70s. So how up the chain could you possibly go? You have to do a lot of analysis here. And I know that I'm a person who has a career-oriented field, and I commit heavily to side hustles. So am I stunting my own growth? In a way, yes. And I have to be honest with myself and look at it that way. I am seriously stunting my own long-term potential career growth by not, getting more designations under my name. Like, for example, I have an accounting degree. Am I wasting my time by not studying, like taking the hours that I'm doing on side hustles and not studying for to get my CPA designation? I could greatly advance my career that way, or maybe I study even harder and go into the finance world and get my CFA, the Chartered Financial Accountant, like that. There's all sorts of different ways you can go where it's like you can climb the corporate ladder and the earnings would greatly be higher than anything you could supplement with side hustle income, right? So let's say if you're someone making $50,000 now and you're doing side hustle income, and the side hustle income's bringing you like $15,000 to $20,000 additional a year, you could theoretically just educate yourself more, get a better paying job, switch companies, because that's the best way to get a higher paying job in the corporate world. just keep climbing the corporate ladder, and you'll get paid way more than $15,000 to $20,000 down the line. And you have to, at that point, once you get the promotions and whatever the goal income that you wish to achieve, you don't really have to do any side hustles anymore, and you could strictly focus on your job. And as a person who, like, I have like a little bit of self-diagnosed ADHD, and my brain's working in 100 directions, and when I'm doing like 100 different side hustles and trying to focus on my job, there is definitely a little bit of give and take there with what your mental fortitude can handle and how much focus can you put on each individual item before ultimately blowing up and having a meltdown. So there's a lot of things to consider here. I think, doing a little bit of side hustles here and there, maybe you're trying to just make like $20 a month extra for, I don't know, a couple boxes of pasta or some toilet paper or whatever, that's fine. And that's not going to distract you from your main job or whatever and like be a burden from your kids. But you have to weigh like how much of your own personal life are you willing to throw away for side hustles, and are you draining your potential opportunities and money down the line by kind of self-sabotaging and not advancing your own knowledge in your field of expertise. So it's just something to consider. A lot of people, you could have the argument where if you're going to dump a lot of hours into a side hustle, well, then it better be your own business, because if you put a lot of manpower into that business, it could theoretically be higher earning than your 9 to 5. That's a discussion for a different day. A lot of people who watch this channel, and people like me especially, who are just trying to retire early or live that FIRE lifestyle, you're not really looking to create this huge business or anything. You're just looking to pile up a bunch of money as fast as possible. So there's so many different routes and avenues you could look at this potential self-sabotaging of is side hustles, like a short-sighted approach in your life and in your career. So many different ways you can look at it. Just something that I like to talk about every once in a while with a bunch of people that are in the side hustle community. So let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and I will see everyone in the next video.